Okay, that's it. I did it right. Recording to cloud. Welcome, everyone. Here we have another journey conversation, and I think this was installment 6 that came out last Saturday. Lots of very interesting things to talk about. So please introduce yourselves and take it away.
Are all the photos the same direction on the screen?
Are all the what? The same direction?
On gallery, are we all located in the same direction, like I'm in the upper right-hand corner?
I don't know. It isn't always
Evan is
like...
down in the lower left. You're in the middle right.
I don't know.
All right.
You're on my upper right.
I don't think it's always the same. I really don't know.
Okay.
It's Lorraine, you're on mute.
I always think it's going to be done for me. Sorry. I don't think it's the same, Judy, because I'm in the upper left-hand corner when I'm facing the screen, and I appear in that same corner every week, but not everybody else appears in the same place. Sometimes Christina's right in the middle. Today she's in the middle top, and I'm on an iPad. I only get, I think, 9 faces. Then I have to hit an icon to go to person if we're over so many people, right? I only get so many faces.
Okay, good.
Don't know if that's helpful.
So we're all in different places. Okay.
Yes.
So would you like to introduce yourself? David, do you want to start?
Yes.
And how you got to be here and what you'd like?
My name is David Lawler. I live in Bloomington, Indiana, where it's just one of those gorgeous days today. Really unusual for a day like this in August here. I've known about Christina for a long time, and I was fortunate enough to be able to participate in a ACOL facilitator Zoom that Christina facilitated, and Christina, I love the sound of your voice. Yeah, the journey, reading the text of the journey. At first, I thought, this is so simple, and I wasn't incredibly impressed until I heard you read it, and this is everything. And so I thought I'd sign in.
Great. I'm glad you're here, David. Hi, Oliver.
Yes, hello everybody. We are from Switzerland.
Oliver and
Veronica.
hi.
Yes, and yes, we made the Course of Miracles for, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years. I don't know exactly. And nearly 20.
Excuse me, Oliver.
Yeah, there's a sound.
Get back. I can't hear you. I'm sorry with the
Okay.
background.
Okay, I will make a little changement and I hope it will go then.
Can everybody mute for now and see if that makes things better?
Is it better now? You can understand.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay, fine.
Keep talking, Oliver. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I just,
Switzerland, you said, right?
with my wife, Veronica, she's here beside of me, and we have been for 20 years following the Course in Miracles, and now for perhaps half a year, a little more, the Course of Love, and we have both been very astonished that now there's a third one, it's a trilogy. So we are very glad that we can participate and learn you. Thank you.
Glad you're here. Can you say your name again? Your Oliver, your wife's name? I couldn't quite catch it.
Yes, Oliver and Veronica, and I will.
Veronica.
Yes, I will change the name you see right now. So, okay.
Now, Lorraine and Kevin have been here before. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Lorraine. I've I had joined this conversation with Christine maybe three or 4 weeks ago now. I'm loving the journey. I'm from British Columbia, Canada. I have been a student of A Course in Miracles and A Course of Love. And Christine, I want to say, I have visitors right now, so I'm a little preoccupied. I wasn't able to get through all of it, but I listened to your last two, and I love your voice as well. Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Well, that's really nice. But I hope what it does, since you love it, is that the meaning and the message really sinks in deep. That's my prayer and my wish for everyone. So, Kevin?
Yeah, I've been to one of Christina's sessions, and I was referred by John Mark. It was on his website, Belief in Presence, and John Mark. I just like what comes through him. So he recommended this, and I did a bit of Course in Miracles in 2014, and after a year, I moved on from there to something else and a few other things, and I did quite a bit of work with Paul Farini. I think he's done some work really around a lot of the work around the metaphorical hurt child, and so I'm here. I'm here really just what I'm attracted to. I don't know what it is, but to be something. What helps here is that I really feel that there's this kind of influence, guidance to get out of the head with any of this work, and and that always gives me there's always potential in that for whatever. Yeah.
Have you looked at A Course of Love at all, Kevin?
I've bought the books. I looked at them, and that was all I did. I just looked at the books. I never read them. Yeah.
I'm saying that because when you said to get out of your head, that's what A Course of Love did for me, for sure, from A Course in Miracles. Yeah. Judy?
Yeah, I'm Judy from San Francisco, and been involved with A Course in Miracles since 1980, and then A Course of Love since when it first came out, and facilitated classes in both. Just doing the 40 days again with a group that is fun to take them on that journey, so that they, really get the gravity of it, which is funny because it's not heavy, but so anyhow, that's really what I'm doing right now is the 40 days with that, and of course the journey, and Grace and Aging was a good book. So I've just been enjoying life, and the installments are interesting, and I can listen to them and read them a number of times, and again, we've all said this, that it seems to be so simple, but it's really deep. So I'm here to be here.
That's great. And it is really not, unlike the first two books, which were about our own personal development, this is about truly leaning into that we're accomplished and get out there. Well, not get out there, you can do it from home, but the blessing and the constant 24/7 knowing and anchoring that energy of love for ourselves and for everyone. So this is about all. It's the collective, one and all, the true living of oneness. Irene, hi. Can you unmute yourself? For some reason, oh, there we go, you're unmuted.
Okay, let's see. I've only heard about Journey a couple of weeks ago from Daryl Gray. And I really like this writing style. I've been involved with the Course in Miracles since 1984 and a whole bunch of other things since then. on that same vein, I don't know what else to say. As I said, I have enjoyed these conversations. I missed last week because I'm coming from Long Island, New York, and there was an enormous storm here. And we lost power for 15 hours. So I missed last week, but I listened to it afterwards. And I enjoyed the week I did here. So I'm pleased to be here today.
Nice to have you, Irene. I was wondering about that myself. Just before I got on the call, there was crashes of thunder. It's gotten very dark and it's pouring with rain outside. So hopefully my power will stay on for the duration. John, are you there? Are you walking or? John joins us every week, but he's usually walking and doesn't put his audio on. Donald, can you hear us?
Just a second. Yeah, I can.
Oh, there you are.
There I are.
There you are. And
Hi.
hi, nice to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. So, I too studied the Course in Miracles starting in the 1980s, I think. And it came from a conservative Christian background, and that has been pushing against a little bit. And so the language in that really kind of bugged me. But then let's see, what was a whole bunch of things were next, but one is I stumbled into A Course of Love. I don't know, how long ago did it come out? A few years ago?
It's been out 20 years, but it got published as a single volume.
Well, no,
only.
A Course of Love.
Yeah, A Course of Love was actually first published in 2001.
Right.
But most people heard about it. It was a sleeper for a long time, and most people heard about it in 2014 when Glenn Hoberman published it in one volume.
Yeah. And that was, of course, a different languaging, which was more attractive to me. And in that was, let's see, was The Way of Mary, did that come up in that or something somebody else did? Yeah, okay. And that was, I thought, a big contribution, coming more from love. And the Old Testament God seemed to be kind of an angry dude. And I didn't particularly, I mean, even though I grew up with that, it was based a lot on fear. And this thing about love and fear, I had a hard time reconciling. And then, well, after that, there was something called The Way of Knowing. What?
The Way of Mastery, with the way of the heart, the way of
yeah.
Way of Mastery.
Yeah. And I found that really compelling, useful. And then the A Journey into the Unknown, I stumbled on that too, just earlier this year, and was waiting for those lessons to actually be published. It's kind of unique in that there's only like about a page, more or less, per lesson, and there's enough to deal with in that one page. It connects actually a lot of what's going on right now. I think it's more focused on the collective than the previous teachings. And it's, yeah, I find that really useful. One thing along all of this path, I've been married for about 55 years now. And about 5 years ago, my wife had a significant stroke. And turns out she was in the hospital like 10 days and then into a skilled nursing facility for another 90 or 100 days. And we lived in Seattle at the time, and she was able to get into University of Washington's skilled nursing facility, which is one of the better ones in the country. But in that time, toward the end of the stay in the skilled nursing facility, they had activities, and on Saturday they had movie night. And I go down there and we'd go to the movie, and getting up and walking out of there one time, there's this thing that hit me kind of right in the solar plexus. And it said in an internal audible voice, not external, but Joyce will be healed by love alone. And initially, I thought I knew what that meant. Turns out it was a lot bigger message than I had imagined. And it also included me and relationships, and basically letting that be the dominant force in my life. And so at any rate, that's kind of, well, we had to move out of Seattle because we're in a 2-level condo, and she never went back and saw that place again. And now we're about 30 miles away from Seattle in a 1-level condo with a garage and only 8 units and secure facility. And it was like, wow, I didn't know this existed, but exactly what I was looking for. So, and it turns out I'm a president of the Homeowners Association here now.
I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. Can you just say how you heard about Journey?
Yeah, I think that I heard about it or saw it in something that popped up from Glenn Hoverman. And
okay, that was the Embrace newsletter then. That wonderful.
But I don't subscribe to that. I don't remember how it showed up.
You must have gotten on his email list somehow. And I put an announcement in there at the beginning.
Yeah, it could be. But anyway, that's, I wasn't looking for it, but there it was.
No, it was right on the front page. You couldn't miss it. Thank you. John, can you hear us? Well, let's get going. What I'm gonna do first here, because there's a lot to talk about, unless nobody has anything to talk about. I certainly have plenty to talk about, but I'd love to hear from you all first. So what I'm gonna do is drop the installment 6 questions into the chat, so they're there for people. But I'd like to just invite people to share their wanderings or whatever they would like to talk about. Any questions particularly, because then everybody can share their experience. Obviously, the interpretation is your own, but I feel the purpose of these calls is to share our experience living deeply into the message of a journey into the unknown. Because as I said earlier, this is not about our own personal development, although in the doing it will be also. It is about everyone. So of course, in Miracles kind of undoes the mind's control over us. A Course of Love kind of opened the heart, or Experiences, the School of Hard Knocks, opens our heart. And the Journey into the Unknown puts it all together and says, now go be that love, be that truth in the world, be the example. No teaching, just be the example. So please carry on.
I did send you that statement. It was right in 30. Let's see. It was the very first one. I'm trying to get there so that I can do this properly. But anyhow, in the title of your, which would be down in the chat then, in the title of, you said in chapter 36, do you see value in share content? Why? Over form, what? And when I first saw that and read that first lesson, I went, shouldn't why be who as source energy? But then in the next lesson, it really says that the content is the why, and the over the form what. And of course, the content is soul energy. So that corrected it for me, but I never quite, saying soul energy is the why just puts everything right in the right order. You know, it just does. And so I found that to be, what, very revealing. I really was turned around with that. So it was calling it a why, the why behind everything. Actually, wasn't it A Course in Miracles? Why was kind of a more what for, and which can still happen here. The what for, the energy behind it, because to be for myself to get clear on what energy stream I'm flowing with. I forgot that this morning while talking to my sister about politics, but afterwards I had a good opportunity to reflect on it, and I have my practice is to remember to, again, the elevated self of form and the why or the what for instead of the what in the form. And so those first two chapters, that's what kind of hit me in the very beginning.
So Judy, you'd actually emailed me about that, and I've been kind of hanging out with that because the questions above the chapter titles are not direct quotes. They're kind of what came to me as I prepared the installments. So I took your email to heart, and even as you're speaking now, I want you to know that I've kind of edited that question.
Oh, I thought it was good. It made me think.
Well, it did, but it can be confusing also. So what I've done is I've said, and I didn't edit this question that I dropped in here clearly, but it will say, do you see value and share content? And the parenthesis says meaning. It's the meaning, and it's the meaning of source coming through your soul. So each person makes their own meaning out of it, but it's truth, meaning coming in that way over form. And I took out the what. You know, I just said, I think that's a clearer way to say it as a question. So I thank you for that. And you're right, it is about meaning, which could be the why, it could be what for, it could be all kinds of things. It is, what does it mean? Yes.
But it was just great, the fact that I questioned it, and then of course in the next chapter, it says the why is source energy. So anyhow, it was helpful to me having that.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. So other experiences or any questions? You know, it's kind of free flowing, everybody.
I liked all of it, of course. But this next chapter, 37, do you accept life's messiness without worrying about it? That was a great lesson for me this week. And Donald, I think you mentioned, the journey seems to be more about the collective consciousness, right? And what we see happening in the world. And being able to accept and see there's a reason and a purpose why it has to come up, because it has to be dissolved by the light. You know, we have to see the messiness because it was able to continue maybe under closed door, behind closed doors. And now it's all coming up and it's calling so many to action. Mm-hmm. And how that will resolve itself is what the journey is about. We're here to help. And I love, Kevin, your sharing last week about journey making you feel more alive, you know, coming to life through what you're seeing here. And that was a great reflection for me as well. You know, the being and the doing and being fully engaged and fully alive. But I liked it I love it all. Mhm.
So I love that. The messiness. Well, first of all, I hope you like the photographs. That spider web was such a messy spider web. I couldn't believe it, but it functioned. It was the real messy thing hanging there at the base of my car. And, completely unlike any spider web I'd ever seen. It seemed to reflect the chaos in the world to me, exactly as it was. But here, the thing about the messiness I just wanted to add to what you said, Lorraine, which is perfect, is it's not so much, it is what's happening out there, but recognizing that that's inside too. So it's like, what is
Yes.
my response to it? What is my response to whatever I see here in the news or a friend says or something political? That's the place we're being asked to focus on. So
Yes.
can we accept? Doesn't mean accept. It's going to be that way always, but how am I responding? Because that response is what's going to change things. Each of us
That's right.
essential to what landing the new. That's what's so exciting. Journey makes that so clear. I mean, it's there in A Course in Miracles. It's there in A Course of Love. But you can't miss it here. You can choose not to do it, but you can't miss it.
No, I totally agree. And I would reiterate that it's the transformation is parallel. It's in tandem. It's happening in us. We have to keep growing and
Seamless.
becoming right in tandem with this.
Yes.
But it's right there before our eyes in very physical ways. And, I've struggled like everybody else to try and make meaning with what's going on, but things are starting since last week to fall into place where I was confused about the world that, wow, and even the people that I would see as perpetrators, they're playing their part in allowing it to be. It could never have got this messy without certain people, right? So they're doing their part as well, and it's accepting that and accepting whatever I see and how we're called to respond.
And Journey says it's so simple to do it 24/7. Bless everyone. Bless everything.
Everyone,
Wholeheartedly.
yes.
Wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. It's not just words, it's a feeling. Completely. And we can't go there and bless everyone unless our own response is neutral or centered or loving or something, whatever word you want to use,
Mm-hmm.
Jack, I want to welcome Jack. Hi, can you introduce yourself? You're muted. Jack, you're muted. I can't unmute you for some reason. There we go. All right.
I just couldn't find the code to join, and I had to search, and I finally
Save it.
found it.
Save it somewhere, Jack. It's the same Zoom link every time.
I thought it changed every week.
No. Although I could change it sometime. I hope there's a way to let you all know if I change the time and place or whatever. So,
Fine.
but glad to have you here. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You'll have to introduce yourself again because no one heard you.
I'm Jacques Petro from Montreal, and I've been reading all these books, and the latest, they're from the beginning, and I'm translating it in French right now.
Yes, that's exciting. Great. Well, Oliver, would you like to say anything?
Yes, you asked me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oliver and Veronica, yes.
Yes, I have a question about. Can you hear me good now?
Yeah.
Or is it, yes? Okay, fine. So let's hear.
Judy, you can't hear?
Well, it's just low. Could be me.
Well, maybe Oliver, speak up a little bit closer to your speaker.
Oh yes, you hear me better this way? Yes? Okay, fine. So you have said the question 37, and excuse us because our English is not so very well. We hope we understand you and can speak. Do you accept life's messiness without worrying about it? And yes, there is a thing about accepting, and Christina, you said about blessing, and Lauren said about what you can do personally, what we can do each other, but it's not always clear. I mean, sometimes I know what I could do, and I see it's good to do this thing. But sometimes it's not clear at all. So there's just acceptance. And do you think this is enough, just to accept the things how they are? Or is it important to take decisions? And yes, this is my question. Thank you.
Well, Oliver, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you talked about having spent time with A Course of Love.
Yes.
You have? Okay, great.
Yes.
So
Not very long, but yes.
yes. So that's wonderful. I believe one of the days talks about accepting the present, but that's one of those chapters where I wish the title was actually Accept Your Feelings About the Present. So the thing I want to say is that, no, we're not asked to accept wholesale what's happening out there. But there is a whole process, and you described it very well, not knowing, being completely bewildered, shocked, scared, worried, anxious, angry. So many people are feeling so many things the way the world is right now, and especially in the US, a lot's happening. So it's that acceptance, feeling the feelings and accepting the feelings that I would share is how I do it. It's like, what am I feeling? And it's a really hard thing to do, to always remember to go inside first before we react or try and fix something out there. So the feelings, and staying, the most uncomfortable feeling for me is resting in not knowing. And A Course of Love talks about that too. Staying in the not knowing and the coming to know, because I can only know in the present moment, and to trust that the knowing will come at the perfect moment, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. And if I don't know, and this has taken me so, and I'm still practicing, saying, I don't know, and not feeling pushed to have an answer or a fix, and just being okay, being uncomfortable. So that's my response. Everybody else, please chip in.
Thank you. Yeah, fine. Mm-hmm.
Because then we know, and sometimes the action arises from that. And it could be an action I didn't think of. I couldn't have logically thought of it. But it's something that does my unique, essential part in the whole. And you kind of feel it in a way that you have to do it. It arises in a way that you're propelled forward to do it.
Yes, thank you.
And sometimes it's the craziest action. Doesn't anybody want to say anything about their experience with this?
The feeling has to be the guide.
Yeah.
It can't be the mind. Okay, the mind misguides us, usually. So the feeling has to be the key guide in all circumstances, all moments.
So this place of neutrality, a lot of the new age places I go look at talks a lot about 0-point neutrality and divine neutrality. That is the place I aspire to dwell in 100% of the time, because it's from that place of alert, clear-eyed listening and looking that my action becomes clear. And I'm nowhere near staying in that place. But I do feel the disturbance when I'm not in that place. And that's helpful.
So the feeling would lead us to following our heart. And we will be prompted, I think, by that wholeheartedness, by the heart, not the thought. And journey to me is sort of laying out a plan that we are just by being in a new way, right? And it tells us we have to be gentle. It tells us we can't be preachy and self-righteous. And it tells us it might be one person at a time. We may feel we should go and march in a protest. And if that's following your heart, if that's right for you, perhaps do it. But on the other hand, we can do nothing if we're not prompted to feel that we're called to do that. I really believe. But I think the journey is showing us a new way of being, and we are sort of the forerunners, and we need to be able to demonstrate that by doing and being according to the way of Jesus and the way of Mary. Christine, you would say doing is the way of Jesus, and being is the way of Mary. And the way of knowing, we're moving into that way of knowing, the way of Mary, more so. The feminine is appearing. And I think in the last chapter, which I only listened to, in our neutrality, we're learning that our person, the personality we've created, we aren't that person, so that we can never be hurt. We can never be hurt unless we're in the person, the ego we created, right? So we're moving into being more in holy relationship, or more in consciousness, or our Christ consciousness, or our Christ self. It's referred to so many things when we are in union with God, and our mind and our heart are united. Something else that I thought of on that last chapter, but it's gone. So I don't want to ramble, but I think, as Christine said, it's a moment by moment thing, and it's how we react, how we respond. It's showing us a way to be in the presence of others too, by remaining calm in this storm. That there's something we have that keeps us grounded, or in that state of neutrality. We become non-reactive, right, in it.
That's what it says. Yeah. And you're right, but it is with feelings. We always start with feelings. So if I feel hurt, I feel hurt, and I have to feel that, and that's where my attention goes. And feeling it brings me back to that neutrality. And that's the difference, I think. It's about going inside when I feel hurt, rather than attacking somebody or blaming somebody. So that's the practice. But you're right about the way of Mary and the way of Jesus. I believe the blessing is the place we start, from that place. I think, I don't remember the words in Journey, but it says, bless everyone.
Yes.
And if your heart prompts, then do something more. It doesn't start with do something. It starts from that place of stillness and neutrality, and non-reactiveness. And that's really important. It's not about the action, it's about the process and the energy of the action. Right. Yeah. David, did you want to share anything?
You talked about the directive to bless everyone. My whole process got started as a result of a really profoundly mystical experience in a rebirthing session, right after somebody read to me the first miracle in lesson 122. What could you want? I had no idea beforehand what it was such a beautiful thing that it was so.
It's hard to hear you, David. I'm not quite sure why. There's a lot of noise on the line.
Okay.
I think it's John. I don't see him muted. There, he muted himself. Well, still doing it, so it's not his phone.
Yeah. So at any rate, this thing on forgiveness really got me hooked, but I'm only starting to really recently get a handle on what magnitude of benefit of this is, and the journey really kind of started things again for me. Just being in the car and watching people in their cars and blessing them, and people walking down the street with their parents, what my judgment would be about them, blessing them. It's just wonderful. Uh,
Yes.
you know,
And
it's
it's a feeling, that spaciousness that the course of love talks about.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, you're enfolding all of everything, all of everyone that you're seeing.
Um, and so the journey for me has really been wonderful. I mean, again, I said at the beginning, it's so simple. I wasn't attracted until I heard you read it, and I shared it last Thursday with my Course of Love group, and we're wanting to incorporate that into what we're doing. Uh, there was a resounding want. So we listened together to your reading chapter 1, and we did it. I did it. I said, well, let's try this and see what you want. Everybody said, yes, let's do this. And there's such a strong immediacy. Let's get this done. Quit screwing around. Let's get this done. And so it's just been wonderful. Wonderful. And frankly, it's also been wonderful. I've listened to a number of these on YouTube. And Christina, I appreciate so much your facilitation of this process. I I really respect what you have done, and I I'm we all when somebody in my Course in Miracles will share a personal experience that affects me very deeply. It's like, wow, yeah, and I think about it afterwards, and it changes me. And the same thing if I observe your process and how you approach this, it changes me. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And no, I appreciate that. And you're not the first person who has looked at Journey in text or whatever and said, that's not for me, and then has listened and come back around. So there's something about, I guess, the energy. And that's what Journey is bringing us to see ourselves as energy, pure energy first, which is who we really are. The Course of Love says to be who you really are. So this is getting even deeper into that. So that's great. I apologize. I meant to say up front that Rick has not been able to be here. Rick Greathouse, the receiver of Journey into the Unknown, last Wednesday, nor this Wednesday, and possibly more than a few weeks, I don't know, because he's a teacher and the San Francisco schools went back online, but he has to be at the school handing out computers to the kids, and so that's why he couldn't be here today. And he wanted to give his love to everybody, and he will join when he can. So for now, you'll have to put up with just me, okay? No Rick. And I also wanted to reiterate for people who haven't heard me say it, that I'm like the piggy in the middle between Rick, who has received this amazing gift and given it open-handed to the world. He doesn't want anything. His job is done, he says, having received the entire message of a journey into the unknown. And on the other side of me, I have Joe Nagel, who is an amazing expert and wizard on social media and found the template for the website. So I create all the content and there it is. So I appreciate that, and they will appreciate hearing how much people are enjoying it too. Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's just, I mean, I think it's for me really just, it's for me, what's going on with me right now is I don't have any, if I look at my external situation, there's nothing secure at all. I mean, there's no job, say all the kind of things that, I'm a certain age, no family, nothing. But at the same time, there's this. I'm kind of. There's this growing direction of my attention to really hold a lot of my doubts and negativity that comes up. It hasn't helped things that I've come off coffee the last 4 days. That's part of a process that I'm going through in terms of just it's almost getting me to look at what else can I drop? What else can I drop? So I've got, nobody really absolutely knows anything. Nobody knows anything. It's all reasoning going out there, all kinds of verbal stuff, but actually nobody knows. And I'm doing my best to kind of see how I can move through this over the next year. But for me, it can be quite heavy some days. But I am working on holding myself, holding as best as I can. Because it's just, for me, I'm looking more and more at the world. I just think, do I really want to be any more part of this anymore? All this noise, these careers and jobs, the futures and security. Do I want even security? And I'm just feeling more and more drawn to really, what's the word, pushing my edges, but just dying. There's almost like a dying going on with me, and it's a dying, but not dying to escape. But that comes in. There's a kind of battle going on, There's a dying. I don't want to be part of this anymore. Any of this, And so that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
You're describing it so well, Kevin. Bless you. I can feel it. I can feel you. I have felt all the things you're feeling, and I'm sure everyone here has, especially recently. Because you're right, we don't know. We have no idea where this is going. This is not a time like any other. Not a time at all like any other. And it is truly, that's when this message arrived and it was called The Journey into the Unknown, I couldn't quite believe it, because that is exactly where we are, the journey into the unknown, and we cannot know anything except in this moment. And I fall out of the moment all the time. Over the weekend, it was such a dark time, and if anybody reads my blogs on Co-Creating Clarity, a Facebook page or the website, I wrote this long thing on Monday about my experience and what happened, because the only way I know how to walk through this time is pulling myself into the present. And the way I pull myself into the present, I used to say it was gratitude, saying thank you for what's in front of me, which is still true. And I believe A Journey into the Unknown talks about blessing in the same way. It is blessing what's in front of you. I'm blessing you right now, Kevin. I'm blessing everyone here on this call. I'm blessing my computer because it hasn't gone off with the thundering rain out there. I'm just blessing everyone for joining and feeling that energy, that heartfelt joining of the network and web of energy. And that is everything. So bless you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you. The gratitude, and as you're saying, I have various practices and little things that I try to work with. There's never one set of prayers or anything that works. So, and I'm still jumbling around with, trying to contact stillness on a day-to-day basis somehow. It's just incredible. What chance does someone have in a city, and the noise, and so that's, the cultivation of that for me has been over the last year has been ongoing work, cultivating that gratitude, as you say. It's still hard work. Gratitude, just gratitude. It's really, but you know, what keeps me going is when there is moments of connection in you know, aliveness on a day-to-day basis, and it takes me by surprise, that kind of presence, and that keeps me. That's my prayer, that I'm able to connect more and more with that opening, and I'm able to really listen, to really be able to pick up and get quiet. Can I just get quiet? You know, still a lot of noise, and being able to really hold myself, this area that doubts, that's you know, that it's not trusting, and it's not trusting. You know, it's there. So yeah, that's
a good phrase, Kevin. That's a really good phrase you've used a few times. Hold myself. Because that's really what we're being called to do, is being gentle with ourselves, cradling ourselves, holding ourselves with all those fears and doubts and the discomfort of not knowing. And unless we do that for ourselves, we cannot do it for anyone else. So that's really, and it's everything to do that, everything in the moment. It really is. So bless you. Anyone else want to share anything, any experience around that, staying in the moment now, in the quantum moment?
This is Irene. I don't know, this story popped into my mind as you're all talking, so I'm going to share it because it's something I do. And I heard it, this was a story I heard a long time ago, and I believe it is true. The story, I'll give it really short. A young man was collecting carts, supermarket carts in the supermarket, and he passed a lady coming in the other direction, and she just looked so sad and just awful. And under his breath, he said to her, "God bless you." And she passed him, and she turned around and she said, "I don't know what you said, young man, but thank you." And when I heard that story, I said, I can do that. And I've done it ever since. Not only in supermarkets, of course, but everywhere. And the reason I also do it is because I believe we all get to keep what we give. And so I thought, well, you know, that's something valuable I can do.
Mm.
So I'd like to share that was it.
That's beautiful, Irene. That's beautiful. And that is everything. Truly. I mean, that is so hard to remember to do all the time. Right now, blessing everyone here, blessing everyone that's going to be listening to the recording later. Blessing the fact that the sound is a little weird because of the storm, and I think, and the recording is going to sound weird, but hey, I hope our words are still going to be audible through it, and our blessings certainly will be felt in the sound, in the energy of us together. So thank you for that. I'm so glad you're here, Irene. That's lovely.
Well, I'll mention the fruits of spirit, health, joy, and abundance. And the other thing is, if we're not doing something because it brings us peace and joy, it's not worth doing. And so I remember that a lot in my life these days, because there's a lot of work to do out in the garden, but where someone else would see that as a really dirty chore, I get a lot of joy out of it. And so really living in that, is this bringing me peace and joy? And if it's not, you know, do something else. And it's usually the thinking that needs a change more than what we're doing. So I've been watching, paying attention to really how I feel and what is the energy behind how I feel. Conversation with my sister this morning went to politics, and I did not feel very good afterwards. And I was not helpful or harmless, I don't think. And so and Course of Love says we're supposed to remember our holiness. And so unity and holiness. So the other thing that came up, I don't know if it's this installment or which one, but definitely to only focus on that which brings me peace and joy. And I really have got to take off any energy to this whole other side. And so watching the Democratic convention, and specifically Michelle Obama's talk, because it really, I think, encapsulated all of it, I was just really, proud to be American. To those who don't live here, are proud or rethinking what it means. They brought up unity. They brought up the soul of the nation. I mean, I really felt that it was very divinely inspired. It certainly has given me hope. And so today I had a wonderful experience of stark contrast between that platform of hope and unity and peace and taking care of everyone, not just those in power, compared to the other. And why even bother going to the other? That's not going to create anything new. And so I really feel that politically we are definitely ready, geared to, positioned for a real, creating a real new, first of all, America, and second, a United States, and second, really a new globe. All worldwide, I think, is ready for a very positive push. I think I mentioned before, I think it's from the Way of Mastery, but it's a prayer saying, legions of angels, masters and friends, whose numbers infinite beyond comprehension, you who are sent directly by God to assist me over the ditch, come now, because I request it and I see it, whatever. I've stopped saying that. I just say legions of angels, masters and friends, thank you for being here. And I forget who was talking or what that first night of the convention, but I almost cried because I went, they're here. And we're really hearing these words, and these, not just words, the feeling behind the words, the what for. And so I'm very, very hopeful. And that coupled with the journey has been really wonderful. And I have to go now. Nice meeting you all. Hope to see you next week. Thank you, Christine, as always.
Thank you, Judy. Everything you just said was brilliant. It's beautiful. You're right. The veils are thin. They're so close. They're here. We just have to remember to ask.
Yes.
In every moment. The gratitude, the asking. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
See you again. Yeah, that's really, really lovely. And it's a balance. It's what brings us joy, and at the same time, not putting our heads in the sand. Seeing with clear eyes. What A Course of Love talks about is observation and observance, enfolding everything, blessing everything, as Irene said. It's all of it, because the new world will not be birthed any other way except through each one of us, literally through our bodies, through our embodiment, the elevated selves of form, individually and together. Well, we're at 6 o'clock. If there isn't anything else, anyone want to add anything before we wrap up?
I'd like to add one simple phrase. I used to look for joy. I know that I am joy. I don't have to look at for it anymore.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I'm going to have to say goodbye. I have visitors this week, and I will have them for the rest of next week. So, Christine, I'll catch up on the recording next week, and then I'll be back with you in 2 weeks, probably Thank you, everybody. I've enjoyed and been joy in this last hour. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks,
God
everybody.
willing. One moment at a time.
Bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Exactly.
Okay.
I
Bye-bye,
mean,
everyone.
bye. As I love to say, if anybody hasn't seen Frozen 2, they should go see it, the movie. Go see Frozen 2. The 2 hit songs in Frozen 2 tell you everything you need to know. We're walking into the unknown. Just listen, 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 listen to the call within you and do the next right thing.
Mm. And that was chapter 39. Are you being a good listener? Huge lesson for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listening.
I'll try and watch that movie.
You don't have to, but yeah.
No, I'd love to. I watched the first one with my little granddaughter,
Did you?
Charlie, and I loved it. So I guess I can get it through one of the venues, Netflix.
I'm sure
I
you
don't know
can.
what.
Or if
or
you
Disney.
want a quick summary, go to my Co-Creating Clarity website or Facebook page, and there's a blog I wrote last November about
Okay.
the deeper meaning. It's all there.
Yeah, I think I might have even started it, Christine. I have been on your site there. Okay,
All right,
everyone.
thanks.
I'm out of here.
Anyone else?
Bye.
Bye, Lorraine. Bye. Anyone else want to add anything? No? Okay, Oliver, are you good? Veronica?
Yes, Veronica is not here, but she said
I'm glad you could join us. Okay,
Lovely, thank you.
thank you, Irene. Bye, David. Bye, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Donald. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next time. Whenever
See you
you can join, just join. Bye.
See ya.